Welcome everyone at today's ImpactFest 2020 session, Reaching the SDGs and Transforming Towards a Social Economy, with in-depth insights, lessons learned and barriers for social entrepreneurship across Europe. We're very pleased that you're joining us today, together with some amazing speakers that we have for you, who will share their insights with you of many years of hard work. To highlight what's happening in the social entrepreneurship sector in Europe and in their countries. So I'm very pleased to welcome Stefan Panhuizen. Stefan is the director at Social Enterprise NL. Emily Darko, Director of Research, Social Enterprise UK. And Michael Wunsch, Head of Scientific Cooperation, Social Entrepreneurship Network Germany. My name is Wieteke Dupin, and I'm the lead of the European Social Enterprise Monitor project for Euclid Network. And we're talking about this European Social Enterprise Monitor project today. So today, what I would like to take you through a little bit is sharing some ideas and objectives that we set for this session. Put in the chat if you have other ideas of what we want to highlight, or put in the Q&A any questions you have for me, for any of the speakers, or just in general, questions that you're considering and you would like to have answered. So we cannot guarantee we'll be able to answer all of them during this webinar, but we'll take the time to potentially see if we can share some insights after if we do not succeed. And otherwise, we hope to cover all of your questions in this session. We'll do a short introduction of the speakers, a little bit more in depth as well, about Euclid Network, and of course, the European Social Enterprise Monitor, aka the SOCN Monitor, and the insights from Germany, the United Kingdom and the Netherlands will be shared with you, and we do a panel discussion afterwards with questions from you. So what kind of objectives we set for the session, and we hope this is what you also have in mind, is to share and discuss with you the in-depth insights or lessons learned and barriers for social entrepreneurs gained from national country monitors, bottom-up data collection in past years, from social entrepreneurs answering online surveys and as well in phone calls and interviews. Share how this in-depth data on social enterprise and social startups has led to important changes in policy making, investment decision-making, and increased visibility and understanding of the social enterprise model and its crucial role in achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Specifically as well, because the topic of ImpactFest 2020 is accelerating innovations for the new economy, we also touch upon this topic of innovations and accelerating them. We also want to learn from your insights, knowledge, and country-specific experience on the future for social enterprise and social economy. So feel free to share these experiences or ideas in the chat or in the Q&A so others can see them as well. And what we finally, of course, hope to do is to get you actually excited about this initiative that we started this year, the European Social Enterprise Monitor, get you excited too, and maybe have you join us if you're a social entrepreneur by taking an online survey, providing your thoughts, let your voice be heard. And otherwise, if you want to become a partner, we're also open for this, and we will share a little bit of information later. So Euclid Network, we're a European social enterprise network, an umbrella organization for social enterprises and impact-driven leaders, and we have been doing that for over a decade. Our members are frontrunners in social enterprise, support organizations, national networks, and alliances for social entrepreneurs, universities, incubators, social funds, and also we will partner a lot with governments or intergovernmental organizations. We're a fast-growing network. We're currently with members in 20+ countries and active in 40+ countries. We're a strategic partner to cities, regions, the European Commission, and also a partner of the United Nations. And we're representing over 100,000 civil society and social enterprise organizations. We present capacity building programs for social entrepreneurs in Europe, Russia, the Middle East, and North Africa. So what we do, we support networking and peer learning, build and lead partnerships across borders, research. We provide social entrepreneurs and social entrepreneurship support organizations access to knowledge, markets, funding, and skills. And we let them, of course, share knowledge between themselves because they're the experts, and specifically the national networks in their country, which you will be seeing today. And as well, we influence policy. So we're very pleased that we're a network organization. So a lot that we can do is because we have a common voice of all the fantastic work done by people locally in the countries or in organizations that are part of the network. So the aim of the European Social Enterprise Monitor, the project that we're going into a little bit today, so the aim is to close the current gap in data in Europe on social enterprise to inform decision makers in politics, government, civil society, and the economy. And this is following actually success of individual country monitors of social entrepreneurs done in Germany, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom. And the United Kingdom even for the past 14 years. So these three organizations, Social Enterprise Network Germany, Social Enterprise UK, and Social Enterprise NL, are also our members and partners. And together with them, the idea arose of having a European overarching umbrella kind of research, so we could cross-compare and benchmark the data. But it's of course also really built upon their huge and vast experience that they've built upon in the past years. So the monitor will be an annual or biannual meta-study describing the results of an online survey comprising social enterprise data at European and country level. So this will be helping out a lot in getting more understanding of how to make decisions and policies that really will work and will make social entrepreneurs more successful. So the impact will be that we'll have data for researchers and decision makers. It will direct future research. Also that EU policies and funding will be more responsive to the needs of social entrepreneurs. Country policies and funding will be more responsive. Social investors and support organizations as well will better understand the needs of the social entrepreneurs and the challenges they face. And of course, for national networks for social enterprise, they can cross-compare what works in this country, what works in that country, and use that to make a better progress in their missions and learn from each other as peers. So the end goal is, in that regard, a more effective social finance and social enterprises, and that this will accelerate reaching the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals better by 2030. So yes, as I said, the European Social Enterprise Monitor is a project of many people founded by these three national networks for social enterprise, together with several of their peers that have joined. So we see as leader in Portugal, Forum for Social Innovation in Sweden, Social Entrepreneur in Denmark, Social Enterprise Estonia. So the first year, this European Social Enterprise Monitor is going live. Is this we've launched in September, and we are in 8 countries this year, and we hope, of course, to expand this in next year. So we're kind of a startup, and this is where we're looking at how to really make this a good case this year. We will use it to influence the Social Economy Action Plan of the European Commission. And what we will do is we hope to expand it so to become a scale-up in future years. We also have many research partners, ESADE, Hertie School of Governance, the Tallinn University, and many more. So we have 20+ partners and counting more every day. So the whole project is actually supported by the European Commission. The project receives EU funding through a framework partnership agreement within the EASY program of the European Commission. And we're, of course, very, very grateful for their support in this project. So they really provided the seed money to make sure that this could actually happen. Along the way, we're working together with more and more sponsors and partners. So Bertelsmann Stiftung and SAP are also supporting our members and partners in the different countries. And today I'm very pleased as well to share with you that ImpactCity as well is an important partner of Euclid Network, but also in this project. So I'm going to give the floor to Koos Santing from ImpactCity to share a little bit his view on that partnership and as well the European Social Enterprise Monitor. Koos,
yes, I'm there, Wieteke. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the floor. First of all, welcome everybody to this digital ImpactFest on behalf of ImpactCity. It's great that we can organize this online and that we can meet each other and have these kind of sessions which are crucial, I think, to take the ecosystem. Oh, there was something with the settings, but so welcome everybody. ImpactCity is like the community of impact makers here in The Hague, of people that are doing good and doing business. As International City of Peace and Justice, we work for more than 100 years on a better world, with all our organizations in the city, with the NGOs, with the Peace Palace, with all the UN organizations. And we now want to support, with the ImpactCity program, we want to support also really the front runners in the new economy. So that can be impact entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, how you call them. That's really where we are working for. And that's exactly also why we support this initiative to create a European monitor, to really have the insights. What are the barriers? What are the problems of those entrepreneurs, and how can we help them as policymakers in an evidence-based way? So we can, in our programs, if it's in our case a city program, but if it's a national program, or it's the European Commission, that we can see what we have to change, of course, to facilitate those entrepreneurs. And I'm really happy that it is a European monitor and that we can compare data of many countries and cities, because then we don't have to bother them all the time with individual surveys. I think that's also really a good step. So that's why we support this. We have always an international approach. That's also why we organize ImpactFest. And so I'm a big supporter of this new initiative. And let's discuss it with each other, what we can do to make this work today.
Thanks so much, Koos. We're really proud and excited about us partnering as well in this project. We, of course, have been a partner for a long time, since coming to The Hague due to ImpactCity. So thanks for that, and thanks as well for being such a fantastic front runner and pioneer in this space in the Netherlands for sure, of course, but also at the European level, as the European Commission recently recognized as well, kind of a role model, a best practice that we can see in Europe of how a city and the government can really look at this ecosystem building to solve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in future. So thanks so much, Koos, for you and your team for doing the great work that you're doing and for actually partnering up with us.
Thank you, Wieteke.
So if we're going to look at the European Social Enterprise Monitor, so as I said, it's an online survey this year. It's going to be the same across all countries. It's in 8 different languages. So if you're interested, you can take the survey today if you're a social entrepreneur to share your insights. And our idea is really for you to let your voice be heard. What we said, we'll use this as well for the European Commission to inform them on the future social economy, on the action plan for the social economy, and in many national governments as well, to make sure that we influence how the future of social entrepreneurship will look like. We will share these data as well with impact investors and with many social entrepreneurship support organizations. So if you're a social entrepreneur, take the survey today and really have that kind of influence. There are many other ways to join this project. So as Euclid Network, we're a member, a network organization, a partner organization, kind of an umbrella organization. We really believe that we cannot make a difference only as Euclid Network, and we truly believe in partnerships, and in specifically United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 17, partnerships for the goals to reach actually this future world that we would like to see. So without our partners and our members, Euclid Network cannot do anything. And the more partners and members we have, the more influence we can actually have together. So this project of the European Social Enterprise Monitor is really a project of partners. We currently have over 40 people already involved across these 20+ partners, and we hope to really expand this to include every European Commission country, and of course also neighboring countries, partner countries, and just get more than 8 countries next year already. To make sure that we can actually scale up. As you know, we do need investment, so we are looking for sponsors. So if you are interested to sponsor and really want to support the development of an effective social enterprise, social finance and impact investing ecosystem, accelerating reaching the UN SDGs, please contact me, and it would be really good to see if we can cooperate in future as well, and see how we can align with your strategy on making this ecosystem work well, and your vision for that. So the other option is to actually become a country or a research partner. So we partner up with universities who do the research, who also work on the data later on with their PhD students or their professors. And we work with national networks for social entrepreneurs, like Social Enterprise NL, Social Enterprise UK, and Social Enterprise Network Germany. So if you want to influence the future social entrepreneurship, social finance and impact investing as well, nationally, regionally, and globally, directly as a consortium partner, join our consortium, and we will work with you and welcome you in the family. So another opportunity to become an outreach partner. We need outreach partners. As said, we need to spread the word and give as many impact-driven and social entrepreneurs a voice, and provide them the opportunity to influence opportunities and barriers that they will face or not face in future. So we really hope that if you're watching this and you feel attracted to this idea of influencing through data, through actually having many people aggregately tell what really the issues are that we should prioritize, please help us and join us, and come join and partner up with us. So I would really, without further ado, like to give the floor to our fantastic speakers to share these insights they've gained through their years of work and the monitors that they did in their country. And I'm very pleased to introduce to you the first panelist of today for the National Social Enterprise Networks. This is Michael Wunsch from Social Entrepreneurship Network Germany, from SEND. And as you can see, he has a quote that I just want to mention to you. Policymakers need data to make good decisions. The ESEM gives them deep insights into the important work of social entrepreneurs in Europe. So without further ado, Misha, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. And hello from Frankfurt. Yes, I want to just share some data points from the last German Social Entrepreneurship Monitor that we did. If you go to the next slide, please. So there is a very interesting wave of social entrepreneurship rolling over Germany at the moment. We haven't had that much social entrepreneurs in the past, unfortunately, but now it's really breaking up, and people are starting to start their own social enterprises. So in one publication, this is not our publication, it's a publication of one of our partners here in the country, which is the German Startup Association. They've asked their participants in a very large survey if they see themselves as social entrepreneurs. And surprisingly enough, 41.9% of all the participants answered that they themselves see themselves as social entrepreneurs. And that's massive, that's big, right? So 41.9% of all German startups could be considered social enterprises. And also in the years 2014 to 2019, most of the participants in the DSEM founded their social business. So 3 quarters founded their social enterprise within that time frame. So that's a lot, you know. We really see this wave rolling through Germany, and young students start with concerning themselves about founding a social business, buying from social businesses, or joining, you know, as a workforce in social enterprises. So it's a really big thing, and politicians are waking up at the moment, and that's why it's so important to have this monitor, because then we can go to them and tell them, you know what, there's something called social entrepreneurship, and here is the monitor. Please look it up because it's important for you. Right, if you go to the next. And of course, we asked all the social entrepreneurs in the German Social Entrepreneurship Monitor what they are working towards. And it was quite interesting to see that many of the topics that they are working with are within Germany. So yes, there are social entrepreneurs in Germany that are working towards goals that are outside of Germany, that are probably in the development world, that are in countries in the global south, but most of them are concentrated with challenges, societal challenges within Germany. And I think that can be quite the same probably also for other countries. So it's not only important to look at social entrepreneurship as something that is, you know, brings good, but it brings good to your own country. So good health and well-being is very, very much on the top of the list of SDGs that are social entrepreneurs in Germany are tackling with. Quality education, decent work and economic growth, of course, responsible consumption and production is in the mix as well. And all the SDGs are, of course, covered within the social entrepreneurship ecosystem in Germany. When we talk about social entrepreneurship, one thing that is really, really crucial in Germany is that we kind of, you have to understand, Germany is a welfare state. And as a welfare state, we have very strong organizations here from the welfare sector that have been established for a couple of 100 years and doing very tremendous, beautiful work. So what is the place for social entrepreneurship in Germany? We are the innovators. If you go back again, please. Yes, we are the innovators. So what we do is that the social entrepreneurs offer new innovative solutions, either through technology. So the participants answered that, well, every fifth of the participant answered that they are technologically innovative. And so it's no wonder that one of the social entrepreneurs here from Correlate is saying that tech for profit is status quo. No, it's time for tech for impact. So technology plays a very important role when it comes to social entrepreneurship in Germany, but it's more than that. Innovative means also that we are finding new ways of creating impact. We are creating new processes within these social enterprises where it's becoming more effective or more efficient to create impact for a better society. So social entrepreneurs, they come to the table and say, you know what, let's try new ideas and let's see if we can create this welfare state even better, to make it even better. Yes. And many politicians particularly asked us if these social enterprises in Germany are looking for profit. I mean, is it just that they are saying that they are doing impact, or are they really, what is the mindset of these social entrepreneurs? And the overarching majority of the social entrepreneurs say that the reaching their social impact is at least as important as their financial profit. And a very big portion of that said that, of course, social impact is more important than their financial profit. So you see where the motivation lies within social entrepreneurship in Germany. They are driven by finding solutions to societal problems. And last but not least, and that's probably one of the most important parts that we asked in our survey, is what the social entrepreneurs think about politics. Are they well represented? Is their voice heard? And we let them give actually grades, like in the school, right? When you had your school essays and you get grades, and the social entrepreneurs answering the survey were asked to give grades to the politicians. And these were not well. They were really, really bad grades, which of course shows that social entrepreneurship has not been high on the agenda for politics in Germany. And with these results, we go to the politicians and tell them, you know what, you've been graded very badly. And also we asked them, so what are structural barriers? What are you struggling with? And one of the biggest topics was a weak lobby. So the Social Entrepreneurship Network Germany is very young. We are just 3 years old. And it's no wonder that they say, well, the lobby is quite weak still in Germany. And we are working, of course, very much towards solving that barrier. But then many other barriers that social entrepreneurs here in Germany are facing are concerned with, of course, financing, finding starting finances, and also later on to have finances in order to scale up. So there's still a lot of things that we have to do, but we only can be, we can only create informed decisions when we have these kind of data points. And with these data points, we can create position papers that we then give to politicians so that they can change their policies. So that was a very short, I hope, interesting insight into the DSEM 2019. Please, if you are in one of these countries that Wieteke mentioned before, fill in the ESEM, because it is very, very crucial that we have data in order to make life better for social entrepreneurs in Europe. Thank you.
Thanks, Misha. Fantastic insights in what Germany and Social Entrepreneurship Network Germany is doing for the Social Entrepreneurship Monitor. And for everyone who's participating, you can actually put questions in the Q&A. We've received some questions already before the session. We will address these as well. But if you have questions, put them in the Q&A section. And also participants can upvote questions asked by others that they would like to be answered live in the webinar. So if you have any questions for Michael, which I think you absolutely will have, put them in the Q&A. We will continue to the next speaker, but at the end of the session, after the two other speakers, we will address your questions. So with that, please, Emily from Social Enterprise UK, if I could give you the floor to share some of your insights from the past 14 years of research in the UK.
Sure, thanks very much, and hi everyone, nice to be on this conversation. So first of all, just a very quick overview of what we've done. So I guess I'll start with saying Social Enterprise UK is a membership body for social enterprises in the UK. We have just under 3,000 social enterprise members, and we've been collecting data about the social enterprise sector since around, well, formally since around 2009. If you can see on the next slide, the history of this is that we wanted to be able to collect robust data about the sector, but also to be able to compare it to traditional forms of business, so that it had kind of additional meaning in terms of what social enterprise does above, beyond, differently to traditional forms of business. And we conduct that survey every 2 years, so it allows us to track change in the sector in the UK over time. We also have been with partners running a very similar survey globally across countries, many in Africa and Asia. And we're really happy to be part of a European initiative to do similar. I think it has a lot of value. We also have more recently started collecting shorter survey data from social enterprises to collect more live information on data. I'm just mentioning that particularly to talk about how important sector data is in terms of understanding the sector, but also influencing and driving change. So I'm going to quickly mention a couple of points from the 2019 State of Social Enterprise Sector work in the UK. So you can see from these presentations that social enterprise in the UK, as we see a pattern globally, tends to be quite young, it tends to grow quite quickly, and it tends to be quite representative, for example, of women and of minority ethnic groups in terms of leadership, but also in terms of engagement around social mission and through core business activities. It also tends to be a comparatively more ethical employer in terms of paying living wage. And if you look at the next page in terms of the way it engages with staff, for example, through flexible working arrangements. I'm whizzing through this. I'll share a link to the report from 2019 if people are interested to read that. Also, social enterprises are comparatively more likely to engage on environmental issues. So just that broad picture of social enterprises differentiated from traditional business is quite interesting through the work that we do. Next slide, please. We also look in quite a bit of detail at challenges that social enterprises face, and obviously with a view to then exploring overcoming those challenges. So you can perhaps just about see on this presentation, grant funding always comes up as a major kind of barrier and area of interest for social enterprises. But actually, when you look in aggregate at the barriers that people face through their activities, operational ones tend to be more dominant. So that's, you know, a whole range of things from premises to staff to, you know, business day-to-day operations. And actually, that's kind of the primary barrier that we engage a lot on talking about. So on the next slide, there's a couple more slides, I think, which talk about from their 2019 work, areas that we identified for helping to address barriers and drive change. So in the UK, we have a Social Value Act, which looks at how government procures in a more socially mindful way. So thinking more about value rather than just cost when procuring public services. And obviously that has significant importance for social enterprise, but it's not going as far as it could at the moment. So in terms of helping social enterprises improve their routes to market, we have evidence from our data that that's an issue. And we're working to use the data that we have to lobby government on why they should be doing more, partly because social enterprises need a route to market, but also because we can demonstrate the impact and value that they have in their social environmental contributions and also in their contributions to job creation and to the economy more generally. And similarly, points around regulation to support social enterprise, points around tax system and the additional value that social enterprise contributes to socioeconomic development and how that could be better reflected in the fiscal system. And then on the next page, this question about finance, and this is more about returnable finance and being more patient, more flexible, more in tune with the needs of social mission businesses. And then also about careers and making sure that all of those that want to engage in more social future for business, a more ethical future for business, there are means to do that. I think there's a final slide to just quickly mention the role of innovation through this data and to touch a little bit on what we've seen this year. So the last State of Social Enterprise Survey was run in 2019, and we're about to do, well, we'll be doing fieldwork for the 2021 one sort of early next year. So we've collected in-between data to understand how COVID is impacting social enterprise. And obviously the European Monitor is going to be a really interesting insight into that as well. One of the things that we've seen through the State of Social Enterprise work is how innovative social enterprises are in terms of creating new products and services, and how they do that much more than traditional businesses do. And we've seen in response to the COVID crisis a very similar pattern of being resilient, being creative, adapting to change, pivoting models, and surviving through great challenges this year. But not only doing that, but also, as you can see from the bottom graph there, responding to needs within communities from the crisis. So in addition to facing huge amounts of challenges in terms of operations, cash flow, limitations caused by the crisis, continuing to innovate and add to activities by supporting the communities most in need during the crisis. So that's a very quick rundown, and I'm very happy to talk a bit more about how we collect data and what we do with it, and follow up conversations afterwards as people are interested. I'll paste a link to the State of Social Enterprise report in the chat in a sec. Thank you.
Thanks, Emily, for your insights. And again, for all participants, if you have questions, put them in the Q&A, and we will be sharing them after our final speaker today. So I give the word to Stefan Panhuizen. Stefan is the director at Social Enterprise NL, and Stefan is also a board member of Euclid Network. Stefan?
Yes, thank you, Wieteke. Well, very happy to all here, and happy to share insights on the Social Enterprise Monitor from the Netherlands. So we're Social Enterprise Netherlands with a national membership body here in the Netherlands. We have over 400 members, and we operate since 2012. And actually, we're already, since the start, we conduct a yearly survey. Maybe short on why we do this. Next slide. Obviously, it gives us as a network, insight in the needs of our members, right? So we want to help them. We offer a broad support program consisting of all kinds of masterclasses, workshops, acceleration programs, and well, obviously that needs to match with the needs of our members. So it every year it gives us as an organization insights. But I think it's also a very important source for the whole ecosystem, right? So for impact investors, for policymakers, for researchers. So we see the monitor quoted often in different kinds of policy documents, in researches. So I think by providing the ecosystem with reliable data, you give others the opportunity to work with that. Maybe also I think important to mention, every year when we publish the monitor, we also try to gain media attention for social entrepreneurship, because we still feel that the concept of social enterprise, although it has improved a lot, we know from the monitor, still we can do more to raise the awareness and recognition on what social entrepreneurship is in the country. And maybe also to demonstrate the relevance, right? So it's also, all right, what are these social enterprises actually achieving? Here in the Netherlands, there used to be a bit of the context. Well, are these actually, real companies? Are they also, are they from some sort of economic relevance, right? And with the monitor, we were able to show, well, they're growing, their revenue is growing, they're providing jobs, etc. So we also, could really show, what's the relevance of the social enterprise movement in more traditional economic terms. Next slide. So this is just an overview, and I will no, please, the infographic. Yes, thank you. And I will of our latest monitor, which we did in the spring this year. So that's also why as the Netherlands we're not participating this year in the European Social Enterprise Monitor, because we just sent out the survey to all our members, and like Koos said, social enterprises can become overflooded with all kinds of surveys they need to participate in. But we're definitely participating next year. And I will just share some highlights of the results of this year in the following slides. Next slides. Yeah, obviously, well, Emily also mentioned COVID-19. So we asked, some questions on the effects of COVID-19 for the company. Good to know that the survey was distributed in, let's say, April and May. So obviously, the world looked already a bit different than it looks now. But a large majority, so almost 75% for social enterprises in the Netherlands expected a revenue loss over 2020 or in 2020. Around 20% stated, well, we're not sure if we're gonna make the end of the year. So they were really in deep trouble. At the same time, we saw that around 25%, quite high, saw also new opportunities or new markets, and for example, switching to completely digital or offering new products or services, or thinking about a coffee company, so providing coffee beans that used to be active in the B2B market and now also has opened its web shop for consumers, as people working more from home, so we're drinking more coffee from our homes. So that was a really interesting dynamic we saw in April, May, in the social enterprises here in the Netherlands, really trying to explore new opportunities. Obviously, we're a half year later. We're still in the midst of this whole COVID crisis. So actually planning to do a very short, 5-minute survey to see, hey, how are the social enterprises now dealing with COVID, and what are the expectations for the future? Next slide. Also always every year we ask, so what are your main obstacles for achieving more impact? So these were the results of this year, and they're a bit the same every year. So attracting more customers is it's always in the top 3. So that's also one of the reasons why also in the Netherlands we run a buy social program, which is obviously also done in the UK, and I think it's also taken to the European level as we speak. There's still recognition of the concept of social enterprise, so the need to explain to either your customers or your stakeholders what the social enterprise actually is. It's still quite high on the agenda, although we also know it's way better than let's say 5 years ago. Collaboration with the local government is important. I think, just like Michael said, the Netherlands is also a welfare state. So, for example, in employing work for disadvantaged groups, this is something that lots of social enterprises are active on, working on. But at the same time, it's also a responsibility of local government here. So there you see local government and social enterprises need to collaborate, and that can still sometimes be difficult. And attracting growth capital, so attracting capital to really grow to the next phase is named as an obstacle. At the same time, I think also the field of impact investing has developed really well in the Netherlands, and we also saw the launch of the DRK Foundation yesterday here in the Netherlands. So I think that's positive signs that the impact investors think the Netherlands is an interesting country. One of the also, if you look near to the innovative part, right? So one of the questions we asked this year: are you also trying to influence other organizations? My colleague Simone has just did a nice presentation on this topic the hour before. But we asked the social entrepreneurs: are you, besides having your own direct impact by employing people or by working on food waste, do you also aim to influence other organizations? This can be other businesses or governments or NGOs to act differently. And overwhelmingly, 96% of the respondents said yes, this is what we try to do. And they do this in different ways. So most named was raising awareness among consumers about a certain problem and about the need for alternatives. Collaboration with SMEs was named by almost half of the social enterprises, and advocacy towards government and collaboration with big businesses. We've done a separate study on this subject, so I'm not going to elaborate on this for now. So maybe to the next slide. Yes, well, also the topic of this session, right? So the Sustainable Development Goals. So we ask, and I think since 2018, every year in the monitor, all right, how do you relate to the Sustainable Development Goals? Actually, we see, all right, 51% of social enterprises state, well, we integrate the SDGs in our activities. And of this 51%, they do this by, and as you can see, they could answer multiple or give multiple answers. Well, they state that they give priority to a certain SDG, one or more SDGs. 44% says, all right, no, we really use the SDGs in our communications. And what we also know from more like interviews and in-depth sessions is that communicating about the SDGs can form like a bridge between big businesses and social enterprises, because here in the Netherlands, big businesses talk a lot about the SDGs. It's really their framework for well, achieving societal goals. And by doing this, by using SDGs in your communication as a social enterprise, it's more easy to form, for example, partnerships with larger businesses. And then we say, then we see 27% of the social enterprises states that we really report on the SDGs. So we say, all right, we contribute to SDG number 8 by and then providing data on this. So I think this could also be an interesting subject for the European Social Enterprise Monitor, for example, also to compare within countries. Yes. Thank you very much. This is a highlight of the Dutch Social Enterprise Monitor, and very happy to answer questions.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Stefan. And yes, this research about the influence as well on larger corporations, I think it's very interesting. I'm very sure you will give presentations or webinars on that later. So if anyone has questions on that as well, feel free to ask Stefan. So any questions as well to Stefan specifically, put them in the Q&A. By now we have finished the presentations that we wanted to share with you with the insights, and we're moving to the Q&A part. So if you have any questions, please share them in the Q&A, and we will start answering them. So let's see if all panelists can put on their video, and we can start a little bit answering, and we see you as well speak. So Emily. Perfect. Thanks so much. So yes, first question. How do you manage to attract social enterprises to be involved not only in the monitor, but in the Euclid Network, and then of course also the specific national enterprises or National Alliance for Social Enterprise, because of course the entrepreneurs in the Netherlands, they're a member of Social Enterprise NL, and in Germany of SEND, in the UK from the UK. So how do you manage to attract these social enterprises to be involved in the monitor? How do you do it? Good question.
Yeah, maybe I can tell. So we, well, as a member network, we started with just asking our members, all right, and so and we have well, obviously just sent them out mailing lists and stuff, and we do see that this is a lot of work, right, to to make sure you have enough response, because your target group entrepreneurs are really busy people and they like to work on their company and not so much work on survey. So one of the things we do emphasis is that this also leads to, for example, the media attention for social enterprises, and so then people can relate. All right, you know, I'm providing 20 minutes of my time, and but I'm helping the whole sector. And since 2 or 3 years, we're spreading it out to as much social enterprises as possible. So not only our members, but we do work with partners to ensure that well, the quality of the respondents is good, right? That's actually filled in by social enterprises. So we work, for example, with impact investors and funder, venture philanthropy in the Netherlands. Stichting Doen is really active, so they send it out to their members or the parties they support, or for example, local government. So with the cities of The Hague, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, they all have their own network of social enterprises, and they send out the survey, and in this way we distribute it. Yeah.
Misha, Emily, anything to add on this?
I guess for the State of Social Enterprise Survey in the UK, because it's been established for quite some time, it's built a reputation, and that's definitely very helpful in terms of outreach for it, because we've been able to demonstrate how useful it's been to promoting change and pushing agendas across the sector, and it's kind of known as a go-to piece of information about the sector, so that very much helps. And similarly with the sort of much shorter, more regular surveys that we've been conducting recently, a really fundamental part of that outreach work and getting respondents is being able to demonstrate quite quickly and very visibly how the information is being used and why it's valuable and why it's worth people taking a bit of time to give it to us.
I think there's also a second part in this question, because it says not only, but also. So if we talk about member involvement, because I can only say that it's similar to what Stefan and Emily already told what we are doing here in Germany. If we take it a little bit broader, what do we do with our social enterprises that are members or that are becoming members? We try to involve them as much as possible, especially in creating our policy positions. And that's probably one of the major major things that we're doing. We are creating these position papers, right? They are very important to go to the politicians and to hand it over to them so that they can react and do good policy. But in order to really understand what our members want, we ask them and we involve them in the process. So I think if we take this question a bit more general, I think one of the major tasks for a membership association on the national level is to get the challenges and the opinions and the positions from your members as much and as soon as possible.
Thanks, Misha. Yes, and then a question from Peter Vender from WU Vienna. Given the different definitions and traditions, how and to what degree do you synchronize the operationalization of social enterprises between countries? I think that's a really nice question, Peter. Thanks for asking. And specifically, yes, this is one that the research partners in our network are mostly interested in, of course, because they, in their academic research, use specific definitions. The definitions vary a lot between different countries. How a social enterprise is defined or perceived even by social entrepreneurs themselves varies across countries. Legal entities vary across countries. So what we're working on specifically with this monitor as well is to see if we can actually make that difference visible, but at the same time be able across the European level to find a kind of commonality, because in our European report, we will have to define what data we will use as acceptable to be valid for the survey as a social entrepreneur and to truly represent it at the European level, while at the different countries, there are differences in what the definitions are. So how we've built that in the online survey is actually, we ask people if they're social entrepreneur, they can answer yes or no, but we also have several questions about what counts first for you. Is it impact first, or is it finances first? Are they at the same level? What is most important for you in your strategic decisions? Is it the the social impact you create, or the financial impact you create? And based then on the framework that you have for the definition, you can actually completely change all the other answers to make sure that if you do as an academic or research on a specific topic, you take the data even outside the monitor projects, because the data can of course be used for a lot of in-depth research outside the monitors that the national networks use for lobby or for actually creating this visibility for enterprises. So if you look from a research perspective, the data can be put into the research that you're doing based on the definition that you actually have. So there are multiple filter questions throughout the survey that will allow researchers going forward to operationalize it in the way that they need it for their research, or the government as well, to look at what their national definition is, or if we look at the European Commission level, what is the definition of the European Commission? These definitions are also not static, they change. If we look back at how the European Commission defined it in 2011 as part of the Social Business Initiative, this is not a static concept. The whole idea and the work of Stefan, Micha, and of Emily at Social Enterprise UK and their colleagues is actually to make sure that this concept evolves, to actually make sure that we truly can take all the potential of social enterprises to make this difference and to reach the SDGs. So as long as this concept remains evolving and we remain to discuss the definition and it changes over time, we can use the data of Social Enterprise Monitor accordingly by just changing how we put the data and how we rank all the other data towards that. So thanks, Peter, for that question. I don't know, Misha or Emily or Stefan, if you want to add something to that.
Just to say quickly that we work across a lot of countries, as I mentioned, conducting similar surveys, and I guess social enterprise has very distinct histories in different countries, and as a result, different definitions, different ecosystems, different ways of operating, and we work to try and standardize that to an extent, but also to kind of make use of the differentiation between countries in terms of identifying best practice and ways to lead change and do things differently that come from the fact that it operates differently in different contexts. So I think it's kind of, there's a value to the fact that it's quite different in different places as well.
Thanks, Emily. We're almost coming to the end of our webinar, unfortunately. So I do have one more question that we maybe can do before we close off. Is that okay for all the panelists? Great. So the question comes from Thomas Geesink. When it comes to implementing the SDGs, what is the reason that the amount of social entrepreneurs or social enterprise integrating them is still quite low? And why?
Yeah, I can maybe share a little bit on this, because what we've seen, and this is not so much from the monitor, but just from conversations, is that social entrepreneurs can regard the SDGs as quite high over, right? So it's a bit like, what's all this fuss about this SDGs? I'm not working on SDG 8. I'm working on giving people in my community a chance for decent work or anything, right? So I think in a way the hands-on mentality of a social entrepreneur and the like a high over, bit bureaucratic smell of the SDGs do not always match. But at least in the Netherlands, we see increasingly where social entrepreneurs recognize the value of the SDGs, and especially in willing to form partnerships with larger organizations. So, but I would say that's the explanation, or a possible explanation.
Yeah, I'm absolutely with you on that one, Stefan. And that's also what we get back from our members. But nevertheless, if you put it the other way around, you can also ask, so if you're forced to answer which SDG you are working towards, every single one of the social enterprises can answer that question. So probably they are not inclined to think in terms of SDGs, but actually they are all working towards it. It's the same thing with, there are some people that don't consider themselves being social entrepreneurs, even if they definitely fall within the category, right, within the definition. So I think it's a question of, do you ask them openly, or do you ask them specifically? And if you ask them specifically, it's quite clear that all the social enterprises work towards the SDGs. And there's even in the GlobeScan Sustainability Leaders Survey 2018, they actually also included this passage where they say, well, the social enterprises are one of the most important actors in society to work towards the social the SDGs. So I think they are a very important force.
Emily, anything to add?
Yeah, just to agree, I think in the UK, SDGs is not a mainstream way of referring to or talking about that type of change that's being driven at a global level, but social enterprises are absolutely doing it. The second part of that question, in terms of SDGs as a means for change, I think is not well understood in the UK context, and whether there should be more work done to particularly think about the kind of indicators of achievement that come through from the detail that and the vast amount of work that's been done to put the SDGs into place could definitely be explored more in the social enterprise sector than it has been so far in the UK.
Thanks so much, all the panelists. I think we could, continue the conversation, and we would probably love to continue the conversation with everyone participating in the webinar. Normally, we would have lunch after this webinar, which is a great opportunity to actually go out the room and speak with everyone, and people can come to you and get a little bit more questions that they couldn't ask or didn't dare to ask in the broader session to you. So yes, I hope you're okay if they're contacting you on maybe LinkedIn or through other means with their questions, and maybe have a coffee or lunch with you in that regard, or a nice response. So we have come to the end of this session. Thank you for joining us. As I said, there are many opportunities to get involved, so do not hesitate to reach out to us, and contact me if you have any questions or want to become involved. Thank you for joining us today. Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.